and so this morning I thought that I would share it with you. There once was a man who decided to travel around and explore. He packed up a pack and set off on foot. He walked all day, up and down hills, through valleys and meadows and forests, until at last he came upon a little village. This village had several houses, but he couldn't see any people. The now very hungry traveler decided that he would knock on the door of one of the houses. The woman at this house answered the door just a crack and peered out at him. The traveler greeted him with a smile and asked if she might have a bit of spare food to share with a hungry traveler. The woman got angry and said, "I don't have more than a crumb in this house. Go away," and slammed the door in the traveler's face. Not discouraged, the traveler went on to the next house. The door was opened a crack, and the man who answered the door made the same angry statement about not having any food and told the traveler to go away. The traveler tried more houses, and doors were slammed in his face each time. Well, the traveler was quite clever, and so he went into the center of town and he pulled out of his backpack a pot. Then he gathered up some small sticks and started a fire. He took his pot to the well, filled it with water, and put it back on the fire. By now, the villagers were very curious and starting to peek out their windows. The traveler noticed this, and he reached into his pack and pulled out a rock. He pretended to inspect it very carefully and with a smile put it into the pot. Well, the villagers were quite curious now, and one man came out of his house and asked the traveler what was he doing. The traveler said, "Well, I have been traveling all day and I'm very hungry, and so I am making a pot of stone soup, and I would love to share it with the people of this fine village." The man looked at the traveler and asked, "What is stone soup?" And the traveler said, "It is the most delicious soup from a very old recipe. Although the best stone soup does have just a little bit of cabbage." Well, the man looked at the traveler and looked at the pot and said, "You know, I might have a little bit of cabbage." And he went to his house and came back with some cabbage. Watching this, another villager became very curious and came out to see what was going on. Again, the traveler explained about making stone soup to share with everyone, and then said, "I just wish I had a little salt and pepper to season the broth." Well, the woman looked at the pot and said, "You know, I might have just a little bit of salt and maybe some pepper to share." And she went home and came back with salt and pepper and sprinkled them in to the water for the broth. Now, very curious, more villagers came out of their homes, and once again the traveler explained about stone soup to share with everyone. And he said, "You know, one time I had stone soup with onions and carrots, and it was delicious." And wouldn't you know, suddenly one villager thought that he might have some onions, and another villager thought that she might have a carrot or two. Before long, the entire town had gathered around the pot, each bringing something from their home to add in. And the soup, well, it smelt delicious, because now it was more than just a rock in water. Now the pot was filled with vegetables and meat and spices. There was enough to go around for everyone's bowl, and the villagers and the travelers ate their meal together, and they enjoyed each other's company. The traveler was offered to sleep in the village, and he spent the night. The next day, as he left, the children were playing in the streets and neighbors were talking with one another. He smiled as he continued on his way. Now, the traveler in this story isn't Jesus, but he certainly did act Christ-like. He gently encouraged the people in the village to share with one another. even when they didn't think they had very much. We know from Jesus' stories that he wants us to live in unity. Jesus teaches us how to share with one another, to act kindly and selflessly with the people around us. But just like the villagers in our story, we sometimes hold on to what we have instead of sharing. We act unkindly or selfishly. But when we are unkind or selfish, we hurt the people around us. We end up pushing people away. It's a very lonely way to live. But when we show kindness, when we share with one another, when we act selfless and with love, it draws people not only close to us, but the people around us together. People see our kindness and they want to be a part of it. This week, let's remember that Jesus brought people together wherever he went, and he wants us to do the same. Let's find a way to show kindness to others so that we can make sure that we are living like Jesus.